It's a combination of a managed service and then a software product. So in the service, we would work with partners, whether that's government, NGO, or a major eye hospital, to understand the need of the population. So we always start from the perspective of what is the problem in the population that needs to be solved, which is nuanced but different from what is the problem for the service provider. Because you can solve the service provider's problem, and that doesn't necessarily mean you've solved the population's problem. And so we have tools that help understand the proportion of people with a problem in the population and break it down into a whole lot of detail. And the tools that do that are similar to the tools that then solve the problem. And so our process is all around understanding the problem, understanding what the services currently are doing towards contributing to it, seeing what the gap is, and then making plans to close the gap. But the plans to close the gap are very iterative. So rather than having a 3-year plan, it's very much kind of the agile process, but in a public health system. So start solving the problem, see what the data shows you, change, pivot, do what you need to do to continually respond. And what it looks like on the ground is a team of screeners who are using smartphones or tablets to identify people. And the software that they would be running would have our built-in vision test, which has an algorithm so that the examiner just has to respond to the way somebody's pointing to what they see on the screen, and the examiner swipes accordingly. And then the algorithm automatically records if that person is seeing well or not. And then it'll ask them some questions that they'll ask the patient. It then guides them to say whether this person needs to be referred or not. If they don't, then it records no further data on them. If they do, then it will record some information to make sure we can track them through to the services. At the next point of that patient's journey, whether that is at a health centre or a small hospital, would be other people working with smartphones or tablets, where they'd have the list of the people who'd been found and were expected to come. And they would then record what happened when they came. So it's not an electronic patient record, but it's tracking that patient's journey. So it's a patient journey record more than patient record in that way. And it will just mark that they arrived and the key decisions that were taken, whether they needed treatment, whether treatment was given, or they needed to be referred further on. And so at each point in the journey, there are people using our software to capture whether people made it and what the outcome was at that point. And then on our admin part of the software, you can get the individual view, but you can also get the population view. So kind of going back to those two different views that you constantly need to have is the individual matters, but you need to make strategic decisions at a population level because you've got limited resources. So you have to work out what's the best for the most people that you can do, whilst also being able to tailor decisions to the individual. So it gives you that level of ability to zoom in and zoom out and see where is the pipe leaking, generate reports so that you can share that with partners, and we'll work with our partners to help them do that. So they can bring the stakeholders together and say, look, we're putting all of this resource here, but 80% of the people we're finding, they don't turn up anyway. So actually, this is not a clinical problem. This is a transport problem, or this is a sensitization problem, or some other thing. So if we think we start providing transport, more people will come. Then there's the ability to test that. So okay, well, let's provide transport and look what happens. Let's not wait 2 years and do a monitoring and evaluation thing. Let's just see if it works. And so it really is a combo of software and services. And over time, what we're looking to do is put more and more of the intelligence that's in the services into the software to make the whole thing more scalable. So at the moment, the kind of, if you like, limiting factor is our capacity to do the service side. And we're looking to see how can we do more of that, bake more of that into the software so that more and more of it is in control of the people who are deploying it. And everything that's happened with COVID is forcing us to really look at how we can move to all of the work that was done in country, kind of face-to-face training and facilitation of design how do we move all of that to be online? So that's kind of a short-term focus for us now, is to rapidly develop that infrastructure.
And is that or how much of that infrastructure is on the cloud server side, versus how much is done on the device? And yeah, sorry to ask the geeky technical question, but curious to see how that part of the process of the product works.
Sure. So for any given program, they'll have an instance on the cloud that is for that program specifically. And so they'll get two things. They'll get what we call our admin view, which is the overview. Yeah. And from there, you can control all the different users and set up their different capabilities and rights within the system. And then we have capture, which is the software where people are capturing data out in the field. And all of that is managed on the cloud, and it can all work asynchronously, so it can all work offline. A lot of the environments we work in, you can't guarantee constant connectivity. So work can happen offline, and as long as they periodically get back online, then all the data syncs back up again, and it connects all the pieces together. We've got a kind of range of installed software on people's devices, plus a cloud based instance for that program. And then around that is the service support to A, get them using the software, and then B, helping them translate the insights that are coming from it. And actually a huge amount of the work is not software, it's all relationship management. Because with all of this stuff, if you've got so many different actors in the system who are contributing to solving the problem, so much of the work is aligning everybody to ensure everyone's facing in the same direction. So then the software can add value. But if everyone is pulling in different directions, there is no software solution for that.